Good morning, everyone. Back again here on the KSR YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody tuning in. More work on mullet today, and we've done a little bit of stuff off camera. Been a kind of a busy week last week, and did a few things. Like we got our V-band finished, put in there. Originally, I was thinking I might just try and go solid there, and you guys might have seen that in the last video, and even in Cleetus's video where it was tacked there. I was trying to eliminate, one other place where things can come loose, and it was just too much hassle really to get that exhaust out. I knew better, but part of me was like, oh, let's try something new. I knew better. But anyways, moving on, we've got that fixed. I've got the other one over here on the bench, ready to weld it. A lot of you guys asked about this also while we were on our last video. And what we're doing here, you can see the tube. What we're doing is backfilling the inside of all this piping with argon. And if you didn't know, stainless steel will actually react, it'll absorb and react to just the impurities in the natural air, and it will contaminate the backside of the weld. So to avoid that happening, we actually seal off the ends, some foil and some tape. A rubber band works good sometimes too. I didn't have any rubber bands around the shop. I probably should. But I'm working down here on this joint where we've added the V-band, and argon is actually heavier than air. So by filling it up here, it's going to fill in, then the argon is going to kind of fill up, and I'm going to be welding here inside of this joint. And I've got this clamped because I want to try to eliminate as much warpage as I can by keeping this all clamped together. And that's the reason for, while we're doing the foil. And then what we're doing, there was a lot of you guys asked about it. I tried to answer a ton of you, and I may have answered quite a few of you that had asked the question. Well, now we've got a formal explanation here on camera. So we're gonna get started on getting the rear end back in this thing. And we've got the pieces, the gaskets that we need for that, and bolt the rear end together for the final time, put some fluid in it, then work on the brake mounting and get this thing back on the ground and get the rear suspension all finished up. All right, so we are ready to put in our Mosier third member here. See, it's a through bolt housing. This is actually a 9.5 inch ring gear, and it should be a little more robust even than the standard 9-inch deal. One little trick that some housings come with this option already, but others don't. Actually, this one did not, and we added it. But we drill and tap a little spot right here. And what that allows you to do is screw this bolt in, and you can see it'll start pushing through here, and that it'll mechanically kind of force the rear end out, that initial bit. If you've ever had like anything bolted together with a gasket and it all sticks together, sometimes it can be kind of hard to get apart. Well, these little bolts will help us, especially if we're at the track trying to hurry. We can just run the bolt in, and it'll push that thing out, that initial bit to break the gasket seal, and then we can wiggle it out the rest of the way. So me and Travis are going to stick this thing in there, and then we'll start working on getting the brake lines routed and all that good stuff. Okay, so while Travis is wrapping up the brake installation on the back, I have gone and taken apart the wastegate. And the reason being is this is typically what they ship wastegates with as far as the inner spring. And if you guys don't know how a wastegate works, the spring is trying to push this shut, and then based on the spring force and the turbo and the combination, you know, if this has got, I think these are 15-pound springs with the combination of them, and so it's going to take 15 pounds to start opening up this wastegate. Well, that may be 15 or 20 pounds of boost, and on an engine the size of Mullet's and the kind of turbos that are on this thing, this combination I expect to be very efficient. So what we want to do is put a little teeny tiny spring in there, and this is only 1.5 psi, and what we are going to do is use CO2. Actually, it's not even going to be CO2, it's going to be just regular air pressure because of the tank we're using in the car, and that's going to be what we use to keep the gate shut. So this will basically keep them shut, basically at idle and driving around on the street. And then now whenever the exhaust goes over 1.5 psi, it'll actually open up the gate. And so this thing with no air assist is going to make really low boost. And really low boost is good because now we can tune the car to work in a lot of different conditions, and they'll all be programmable on how much power the car makes. Instead of having a base setting that's, say, 1,000, 1,200 horsepower, we want to be able to completely control that with the boost. That way it just gives us more adaptability for the car. So I'm going to bolt this all back together and assemble it to the up pipe into the turbo, and then I'll finish welding the other pipe, and then we'll get it put on. And actually we've got to take everything apart in the front to paint everywhere that we've worked on the front frame. So I don't know if we'll get to that in this video, but we got a lot going on. We're gonna keep knocking this thing out. Driver's making some noise. Yeah. We are making a mount for the shifter. And the shifter is going to sit here in the middle. There's going to actually be a plate that bolts underneath it as well that kind of sandwiches it between the floor to make it nice and sturdy. Normally I tie them to the drive shaft loop in a car like this, but the drive shaft loop in this car, because of the overdrive, is back here. So that's not going to work with where the shifter goes right there. But the shifter is going to end up somewhere right there. It's got a quick release deal, so we'll be able to pop it out of there and take it out if we need to. The parachute mount is going to go somewhere back here. Haven't 100% decided yet. But once we get that mounted, you know, then we can play around with where this deal goes and just moving along, chipping away at different projects. We've got the bracket mounted to the transmission on the bottom side, which it's really tight down there on the inside of the transmission tunnel. Transmission tunnel is a little narrow, but if it fits, it's okay, right? So hopefully everything will work out like it's supposed to. And then we'll have a shifter in this thing, and I'm gonna weld some tabs for the brake lines in the back, and we can start routing the brake lines. I need to weld my other tab up here for the brake line in the front. And then we're gonna be taking all of this out to paint it. I may weld my tabs for the downpipes too, kind of get an idea of where I think the downpipes are gonna go. Just lots of little things we're knocking off the list. So keep following along for more progress. All right, so what we got going on up in here. Travis fabbed a nice little plate that has some studs in it that the shifter mount can bolt to, but because this is all real thin sheet metal, it's a little flexy still. So now we're making a bar that's gonna catch and land on the drive shaft loop, and then it'll also weld to the plate. And that should make everything a little more sturdy. Should make everything a little more sturdy. Guess we'll find out once we actually get it fabbed and welded in there. All right, everybody. So we got the steering column remounted from where we lowered the steering shaft where it went through the firewall. We got the shifter base mount all done. Where's the shifter at?
I got you.
So you can see we've got 2 short studs here and then 2 longer studs here. And we did that because we've got, it's a little dusty, but now that goes on there. Nice and sturdy. So I made these 2 longer studs because I've got the idea to do a little something up here that's kind of race week inspired. So that's gonna wrap up this video. We're tired, it's been a long day, but we're gonna get back at this thing in the next one, and we'll see you guys then. So appreciate everybody for following along, and thanks for subscribing, and we'll see you guys in the next one. All right, guys, something a little bit exciting to end my video. Let's head home. Happened to walk by all the deliveries we got today. Hold on just a second, I'll turn the lights on. And look what I see sitting in our deliveries today. Wonder what's in there. This is exciting. All right, battery went dead just a second ago. It's the end of the day, batteries are dead. Let's finish opening this thing. If each of your subscribers were a light year, they could take you from one side of the Milky Way to the other. That's far. And it's why today we're so excited to celebrate your special YouTube journey with you. This is awesome. Congratulations on this amazing milestone. This is awesome. And you guys are awesome. Woo! Presented to KSR Performance and Fabrication for passing 100,000 subs. Well, I think that's going on the wall. That is awesome. Oh man. Guys, thanks again so much for watching the channel, subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting, all that stuff. I never dreamed it'd go even to the level that it's gone so far, and the momentum it's got. I mean, we're at almost 160,000 subs right now, and I never could have done it without you guys. Please keep sharing and commenting and, you know, participating with us in this little adventure, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.